Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and a very, very warm welcome to our Year 11 students, parents and carers to our school this evening. Just want to say thank you so much to all of you. It's lovely to see so many people here and giving it a time to be with us tonight, so it's really, really appreciated. The first thing I would like to say is just how proud I am as a head teacher of our Year 11 students. They are such a credit to you, and we talk about our students a lot in our school. I spend my time walking around the school, dropping into lessons and watching the learning that's taking place. And we are so, so impressed. I had an open morning tour today of some prospective parents, and it was period 2, and I think it was maths and English. So the whole of Year 11 were in maths and English. And the parents said, "What have you done to make them so well behaved?" They couldn't believe how incredible their work ethic was and their focus was. And they really liked the way that the students were listening, and they were so, so engaged. And there was a really strong learning atmosphere. So we're very, very pleased about that. So again, we're really proud, and well done to all our Year 11 students. We've got a really strong Year 11 teaching team. Over the last 2 years, we've been really pleased with how our students have performed in their assessments, and they're led by some really talented directors of learning who you're going to hear about tonight. And we have really high expectations for our students in every lesson. I've said that earlier on, and that's because we really care about them, and we want them to achieve and exceed their potential. And we know by doing that in the great work we're doing in school, that can really, really help. And tonight, you're going to hear some information through this presentation about how we can support our students through this year and help them to be successful. And one of the key things I wanted to say is please don't hesitate to speak to us and to contact us anytime if you have any worries or concerns as we go through this journey this year together. That's really important. And a partnership that we would like to build and we continue to build with our parents and carers is very, very crucial to their success. I also want to say that sometimes it can feel maybe nerve-wracking or daunting or challenging to enter your final year of GCSEs. And that's completely normal. And I can remember those feelings a long time ago when I was doing my GCSEs. But I want to also reassure students that they are going to be really, really well prepared. We've really thought a lot about this year. Also, all our students have participated so well in their live lessons and in the remote learning that we've had to do through the lockdowns. And we, as a school and as a year group, are in a very, very strong position. I'd also like to think about this year as a marathon and not a sprint. It's really, really important. You're going to hear lots of important information. And one of the key overarching messages is we are not going to do everything at the last minute, because that's what leads to people being worried and panicked and being stressed. And we don't need to do that. Everything that we're going to do is going to be clearly communicated to you. You're going to see the timeline. And our students, by listening and taking up the advice and taking up those opportunities, are going to mean that they're going to be really well prepared. And when those exams come around, they're going to feel happy and confident and able to achieve some amazing things. So I'm going to finish by, again, just saying thank you so much for being here. That partnership is really special to us. We really appreciate it. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Chidwick, who's going to take you through the next part of the evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. As Mr. Bennett has already alluded to, this can be quite a daunting and challenging year for our young people. So I think the best way to prepare for that is to know exactly what's going to happen, what's coming up, and to prioritise what you need to do for those next steps. And I'm going to hand over to the director shortly, who will talk through some specific things. But first thing I'd like to do is talk about some key dates that are really important. Obviously, to prepare students for their final exams, they need to practice those exams. And we're going to have different assessment opportunities throughout the year that students can prepare in their different subject areas for those final exams in the summer. And the first thing we've got is our Year 11 assessments. Now, these will be completed in class, and each subject will do these slightly differently. Some of them, they will be more like formal mock exams. Others, it might be a more relaxed in-class assessment or a piece of coursework. But each of your subject areas will give that information to you in due course. The next really important thing you can see there are the mock exams, and these will be completed in full with a full set of papers for all subjects being studied. And these will be done in exam conditions in the hall or venues that will be used for the summer exams. So if your young person has particular needs or particular access arrangements, these will all be in place for those mock examinations. So if they have a reader, a scribe or extra time, this will be given to them so they're afforded every opportunity to see exactly what they need to do for those summer exams. They will also, as I said, they will be done in exam conditions. And that's really important because we're governed by JCQ regulations, which means these exams have to be conducted in a certain way. And that means they have to go into those exams in silence. They have to follow the instructions in silence. They must not communicate in any way. And these mock exams are an ideal opportunity to practice that and iron out any concerns they may have with that, so that when it comes to those exams that start in May, we know exactly what to expect and they can focus on the task in hand, which is the content of those exams. Obviously, we've got open evening coming up as well, sixth form open evening, so that you can discuss with subject teachers and heads of department the next steps for your young person, whether that be the IBDP, the IBCP, and I'll speak about those later, or a level 2 vocational pathway. And all of those things will be discussed at the end of this presentation. At Year 11 Parents Evening, a really important time for you to meet with your young person's class teachers to discuss their strengths, their areas of development, and make sure they can plan for things moving forward. Then the exams will begin in May, and as soon as those dates are finalised, that information will be shared with you. Results will come out in August. This year, they were slightly earlier in the year, which gave our children more time to prepare for their next steps in September. But again, that date will be shared with you once it is finalised. And then what we're really looking forward to, finally, when we can get people back in the hall as we are now, is our celebration of those fantastic results that I know you will all get in December. Obviously, moving forward, you need support. Your children will need support, and we have an excellent pastoral team within the school, and that is led by Miss Fulser, who is our pastoral leader for Year 11. And she will be supporting all of the students in all manner of things to do with school, whether that be pastoral matters or supporting academically as well. We also have Miss Richardson, our guidance manager, who again is there to support. These people are there to help and answer any question that you may have, and it's important to have a line of communication, and they will be available for you at any time for any question. And you can see the number of things that they'll be doing. So we've got curriculum resources. Our curriculum is really well planned, really well sequenced, and it's set up to provide success for our young people. There's period 1 interventions that have started already, and they've been really well attended, really well received, and students are really starting to flourish in those opportunities as well. Revision skills. It's all very well saying your child needs to revise and you telling them to revise, but they need to know how to do that. And we'll be working through that in the period 1 program as well. Mock exams and masterclasses. Masterclasses are set up to talk through the criteria for a particular exam and really make sure the students understand what is expected of them for those questions and for those exams. And as I've already said, parents' evening, it's really important to keep communicating and make sure we share information. Attendance is something that's really important. It's important for all school years, but especially so in Year 11. There's key material that's going to be covered in lessons, and children need to be prepared for those exams that are coming up and know exactly where they are and what they need to do. And you can see there, this is evidence from the Department for Education, and there's a strong correlation between the number of weeks that are missed and GCSE performance. So as the number of days go up, the GCSE performance, days missed go up, the GCSE performance will go down. And there's other research that goes alongside this, that a student who has 100% attendance is 3 times more likely to achieve grade 5 GCSEs than a student with 90% attendance. So just having a piece of paper that says you've got 90% attendance, 90% attendance sounds okay, but actually that could be the difference between getting a good set of GCSEs and not so good. So it's really important that we encourage full attendance. If there is an issue, we want to support you and work with you to get your young people into school, but that's something we really push and really expect 100% attendance wherever possible. We know things will come up and we know there will be issues potentially for some young people, and we want to support you with that. So please don't hesitate again to contact us if you have any concerns about any of that. Homework, again, we deliver a really well-planned curriculum in school, but there is an expectation that students will participate in work outside of the classroom. And that, as I said, that can be period 6 masterclasses, but also continuing work once they get at home. It's important for all of you to be organised. So when you go home with your homework, prioritise what needs to be done. Look at keeping a record of your homework. Complete it on the day that's set, because it will be linked to the stuff that's covered in lessons. If you leave that a week or 3 days or 4 days, then you will start to forget that information. Strike while the iron's hot and complete it as soon as it's set. We have facilities in school to support with that as well, whether that be IT facilities or whether it just be the expert teachers that we have in the school. It's important as well to make sure you find somewhere calm and quiet to work on this. Again, if you're struggling with that at home, there's always facilities within school to do that. And really importantly, and we have that in school where mobile phones aren't a distraction, we know that they are a distraction for young people at home. We recommend they're turned off, put away, so they can really focus on the work rather than other things around them. Of course, alongside this as well, we want students to make sure they get a balance and look after themselves and their well-being, and it's important to do that and build that into your planning. But as I said earlier, Year 11 is a really important and challenging time. We really want to make sure that you get that balance, but really focus on the task as well. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the sixth form later on, but I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Thompson, our Director of Maths, who can talk through some more information with you.
Good evening. Okay, so obviously your young children have been through 2 years of disturbed education, and as directors of learning we were aware that we potentially could do something to support them in having a really positive start to the day. So we sat down and we talked about the attributes that your children need both for Year 11 but moving forwards beyond Year 11 and into the sixth form. You know, we've talked about revision and we are always saying to them, oh, make sure you revise for this assessment. We questioned whether we actually help them to know how to revise at an early enough stage. We talked to them about you need to be motivated, but have we helped them to know what is motivating them? So we developed this very robust period 1 vision that enables the students to learn about themselves and to develop the key skills and new strategies that we believe as educators are really important. So we put together a structure and it remains the same every week. So on a Monday and a Tuesday, the students will learn revision skills. So they'll be shown by their teachers what these revision skills are and how they can use them in various subjects. The teachers are maths, English or science, but we talk about all of their subjects. So that takes place on a Monday and a Tuesday. Wednesday, we have their GCSE Mindset. Thursday is PSHE and Friday is their assembly day. So lots of important things are happening in period 1. And the whole point of this is that we give them a positive, focused start to the day. Okay, so what, why, and the how. So they are being given key knowledge for all of their subjects, procedures and steps that they can apply for everything that they are learning, and areas that they are less strong on. So advice on how to tackle those areas that they've got concerns over. We did a lot of research because the thing we need our students to do is to retain the knowledge that they've learned. So the skills that we are giving them have been shown to be the most successful. Okay, and therefore it's going to support them in the success in their exams, because ultimately, as a whole group here, that is what we want. And then that will go on to provide them with strategies in the future. So we're giving them regular tips. We're talking about it in period 1, and we've picked out key revision techniques to help them, which I'm going to pass on to Dr. Shirley, who's the Director of Science, to go through in more detail.
So to support the Year 11 students in their sort of final GCSE year, we've looked at how we can support them with their revision. So as Ms. Thompson was saying, we often say revise, but we haven't necessarily checked that they know how to revise. So in period 1, we're looking to teach them how to revise effectively, and not just in maths, science and English, but this can be applied to all of their subjects for this year, sixth form, and wherever they plan to go beyond that. So we identified 3 key strategies that we wanted them to use for their revision, which were Cornell notes, flashcards and plan practice. So in period 1, their tutor will model to them how to carry out these 3 techniques, okay? And then in period 1, students then have an opportunity to practice each of these techniques with then the support and feedback of their tutor on hand for them. Okay, and when we ask them to go away and try these with their other subjects, okay, and then we're also offering after school some drop-in sessions, so on, which will always be communicated in the weekly bulletin, along with whichever strategy that the students are covering in their period 1 session that week. Okay? And I'm just going to pass you over to talk about the GCSE mindset in Ms. Sanderson.
As Mrs. Thompson said, we really reflected on our students in Year 11
And we realised that our frustration and a lot of parents' frustration in, I want you to be motivated and I want you to be resilient and I want you to have a vision for the future, that was kind of going into the ether. That doesn't really mean anything. And so we got together and we decided that we needed to teach students how they were going to be successful. We were going to spend every week going through activities and strategies in order to really narrow our students' focus. So, for example, so far, we've looked at intrinsic values, what's really important to us as an individual. Then we looked at what our vision was for the future, and we looked at our moral compass. What was a problem in the world that we wanted to solve? And there's a student in the room, I won't point them out, who said to me, Mrs. Allison, I'm really struggling to connect what I want to do with my career and my intrinsic value. And we talked about it. This child wants to be a detective. And they said to me, okay, I want to be a detective, miss, but I also am really passionate about homophobia. It's something in the world that I need to fix. And I said, amazing. So when you go into the police, hate crime's your focus, isn't it? And all of a sudden the light bulb goes on and we've got a real motivation. We know where we're going, because without knowing where we're going, there's no motivation for us to get there. This week, we asked students to go through the timetable. We gave them their week and we asked them to look at the week they've just had and fill out the timetable with how they spend their time. And I said to my students, no judgment. I'm not going to tell you off. I'm not going to give you a rant. I'm not going to moan at you today. But I need to know the truth. And we were really honest. And a lot of time is spent on TikTok. A lot of time is spent on YouTube. A lot of time was spent on FaceTime to friends. And what we needed students to realise is there's a lot of time in the day. And how we spend that time is really important. Because do you know what? You probably do need some time on TikTok every day, maybe. That's okay. But we need to be aware of that time and how we want to spend it. Now, what we're doing for parents is I'm sending out every Monday a bulletin. And in that bulletin, I'm letting you know as parents what we're studying in period 1. So what our revision skill was, and then what we've done in GCSE Mindset. And our vision is, as directors of learning, that you will sit down with your student and you'll say, right, I know that you've done your timetable this week. What does it look like? What are the issues here? And hopefully your child will be really honest and say, what I realised, mum, dad, is I spent 8 hours on TikTok this week. And you can go, right, okay, let's fix that. What can I do to support you? That's our vision. That's what we would love to be happening at home. And when you see, okay, they've done Cornell notes this week, taking time in your day to say, okay, I finished work at 5:30. Let's find a YouTube video. I want you to teach me. Show me how to use the Cornell notes. Because that's how our students are really going to embed those skills. I always say on the bottom that we really value your feedback. So when I'm sending these bulletins out to you, if you could let me know, is it working? Are the students responding well? Is it helpful to you? Is there any other information you need? Because we really want to make this work. And I think, all three, the students, the teachers and the parents, we need all three to work together to get our students to where they need to be. And I'll pass back to Mr. Chidwick.
Following on from that, at the end of this presentation, this will be uploaded to the website and it'll also be sent out along with contact details. So if you do have any of those questions, please make sure you do contact, and all the people who aren't here as well will also have their email addresses and contact details on that correspondence. So the next steps, as we've already said, it could be going off to college or somewhere else, but what we really want to make sure you're fully aware of is the opportunities for staying here at TMS. We have a significantly oversubscribed sixth form, and that is for a range of students with a range of interests or career paths or opportunities they wish to follow up. And you can see there we've got 3 pathways available, and we have the International Baccalaureate Diploma Programme. Now that's going to be new to our school in September. Just this week, we had a verification visit from the IB to confirm that we are in a position to offer this. And this is the flagship pathway of the IB suite of programs. And I'll speak about what that actually looks like in just a second. We have the IBCP, the careers related program. We've been running that successfully for a number of years now, and also our bespoke level 2 pathway for students who maybe didn't quite get the grades they needed in English and maths at GCSE and need a little bit further support before they move on to other level 3 pathways. So the 3 pathways in a bit more detail. As I said, we have the IBCP pathway, which we've offered for some time now. And within that, students will choose 2 or 3 IB diploma subjects. You can see those listed there. Some of those are very similar to the subjects studied at GCSE level, but they take it to the next step. For example, biology, chemistry, English language and literature, film, geography, global politics, history, maths, and psychology. And that offer is growing and adapting and changing each year. Then students will choose a vocational subject, and that will be either a double BTEC or 2 singles. And again, they lead on from study that has already taken place in years 10 and 11 with computer science, performing arts, sport and exercise science, or it could be the single subjects, which are applied science, business studies, and criminology. On top of that, we want to develop the whole student, the whole person, so they're prepared for whatever life may throw at them in the future. And that goes into the IB core. And within that, they have personal and professional skills. That leads on nicely from the period 1 program that the directors spoke about. They have service learning, language development, and a reflective project. And that develops the skills that maybe won't necessarily be developed in the same way as an academic subject would, but it's things that will help them in later life, whether that be going for interviews, whether that be going off to university and fending for themselves, or whatever life may throw at them. The next one is the diploma pathway, and that is the one that we are launching from September. Within that, students will study 6 diploma subjects. So it is a broad and wide-reaching qualification with a range of subjects. What often happens is students study 8, 9, 10 GCSEs, and then they go off to somewhere else and they study 2 or 3 A levels, and they feel very narrowed. Whereas the IBDP and the IBC pathway still offers that breadth that they've enjoyed in years 10 and 11. So within that, again, they'll choose the same subjects that are on offer in the CP program, but they will choose 6 of those. Alongside that, they also have the core element, and within that, it will be developing the theory of knowledge, the extended essay. Again, that's an important skill, particularly for those students who wish to go off to further education or university afterwards, and then creativity, activity, and service. Of course, these 2 pathways aren't suitable for all of our students, and we want to make sure that we can cater for every one of our young people in year 11 moving into year 12, and we have the level 2 pathway. As I've said, those students who maybe didn't get a grade 4 or 5 in GCSE English and maths, they can retake those, and then other qualifications to then lead them on to successful level 3 study afterwards. We had some great successes with our sixth form this year. Unlike the GCSEs, a lot of this work was still based on assessment that had to be sent off and moderated by exam boards. And you can see those subjects listed there achieved more than the global average. So our students were achieving significantly higher than other students, not just in this county or in this country, but around the world as well. The grades that the students got enabled them to go off to some of the best universities in the country. And you can see some of them listed there, including Durham, which is a top 4 university. And we've had students going off to some brilliant universities, not just locally, but around the country as well. And as well as that, we've had students who've gone off to join public services, and they've gone off to find other meaningful, whether it be training or apprenticeships. So the next steps moving on from here is the open evening that I've already said about. It's coming up on the 4th of November. Then applications are completed quite some time after that, and that gives you and your young people chance to discuss with teachers, to follow up a parents' evening, and to really think carefully about the options that are available to you, and to ask any questions that you may have. Then interviews will take place in term 4, and these will be set up on an individual basis, and then offers will be made in term 5. So it seems quite a long way away, but it's definitely something you need to start thinking about now. A number of you will have already had careers interviews with Miss Willis, and some of you will have met Mrs. Alexander as well, who was formerly Miss Pizzy. These things will be continuing over the coming weeks and months as well, to make sure that you are fully prepared and fully informed about the opportunities available to you. That's the end of the formal presentation for tonight. As I said, there's lots of information there to take away, lots of things to think about. Any questions, please ask. This will be sent out with a full list of contact details for everyone. Members of staff will be around to answer any questions. We've got the directors here. We also have people from the exams team at the back who wish to answer any questions. Mrs. Gately is here from the SRP. So any questions, please ask. That's it for tonight, and thank you very much for your time.